Hello and welcome to the video on designing a class design. Uh, what we're going to do here is we're going to draw a circle, and I've got a circle that's drawn right here that doesn't use a class. It doesn't use any object-oriented programming. And if I click on this, this is another circle that was designed using object-oriented programming. So what I've got here, I have essentially two programs, two HTML documents, this one and this one's just a backup copy of this one. In case I mess up in this demo, I can always go back to the backup copy. This is a circle that's created on the canvas element without using any object-oriented programming. This one here also creates a circle on the canvas element, but this one uses object-oriented programming. So the purpose of this video is to give you some idea of how easy it is to create a class. Let me show you first. This is what the web page looks like that does not use a class. This is how in the in HTML5, this is how you create a circle. This is what this code right here is what creates this little blue circle. Now let's make believe I don't know anything about this code, and that's okay. So what I want to do now is I want to look at the code that I use in object-oriented programming to create this green circle, and look at the code. There's the class. I've instantiated the class. In other words, I made an object called myCircle, and I put myCircle.color equals green, myCircle.r for radius is 50, and myCircle.drawIt, and boom, there's the circle. And in order to get this circle here, I had to come over here and I had to use all this stuff without the object-oriented programming. Okay, here's how I create an object. Let's say that I have this code and I know this code works. I know this code will draw a circle. So I highlight the code and then I do a Control X, okay, to get the code out of there. Let me highlight this and do a Control X. Okay, now the code is out of there. I'm now going to go up to the head element and get some space there and do a Control V. So I've taken the code that I know works and I put it in the head of the document right there. What I want to do now is I want to make a function out of it. So I will call it function, F-U-N-C-T-I-O-N, and I'm going to call it circle, C-I-R-C-L-E, and then I put the parentheses around it. Now I have to put this funny looking squiggly thing here, and then I have to come down here and I have to put this funny looking squiggly thing. Alright, so far that's what I've done, and I'm making believe I don't even know what the code does, but all I know is I called it a circle. So if I do this page now, let me bring this over here. I'm going to file and save this first, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh this, and boink, nothing happens. There's no circle there. There's still the canvas element, and the reason why is because right down here at the bottom you can see I did my canvas element right here. Okay, so in order to get this code to run, what I need to do is I need to go in the body, which is right here. This is my body element. I need to go in the body and I need to put in a script tag, S-C-R-I-P-T, okay, and then I need to call that function, which was circle, correct? If I come up here and I look at it, it's called circle, okay, and there's my script, and it's circle, C-I-R-C-L-E, and put these guys in here, and then come back here, and then close the script tag, S-C-R-I-P-T, like that. And now all I'm doing is I'm calling this from the body of my document, and I'm going to go to File and Save, and now I'm going to come over here and refresh this, and boink, there it is. So what I know now is that all you talk about encapsulation and hiding complexities. Boy, that's easy, right? Just make that function there, and there it is. The problem is, So what I've done is I know I've had the beginning of this. The problem with doing it this way, though, is that I have no way of changing the parameters of the circle. It's always going to be blue, and it'll be in this part of the canvas, and it'll be of this radius. So one of the ways I could do it, of course, is I could pass parameters through an argument list here, but that's not the purpose of this. What we're trying to do is that we're trying to make this an object. Okay, what I'm going to do with this circle thing, I'm going to change it into a method, and to change it into a method, I don't have to change its name, but I will. I'm going to call it draw it. I forget what I called it on the other one. Let me see what I called it. I called it draw it, okay, lowercase. All right, so let me do that. I'm just going to call it draw. I'm going to use camel case, DRAWIT, okay. And of course down here, in order to make it work, I would have to call this draw it, okay. And let me just do that, WIT, and let's see if it still works. I come here, file, and I save it, and I come over here and I do a refresh, and bang, the dude still works. Okay, that's cool. So what I want to do now is I want to come up here, and I'm going to make another function, and this function here I'm going to make it the class, FUNCTION, and I'll call this a circle, CIRCLE, and I'll put these parentheses here. Then I do this funny looking left squiggly thing, and I'm going to attach this function here to this function draw it. So the way I do it, I put this dot draw IT equals, and then draw it, DRAWIT. In other words, I have to name this association, this right here, the exact same identifier I named this function. And so I come down here, and then I put this other squiggly looking thing right there, and then I go and I save it. And now what I have to do, I have to come down here, and I have to make an object out of this, because this effectively is now a class. Okay, and keep in mind what a class is. A class has methods in it. Here's the method, as well as properties, and here's the property right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to say that I have a new class. I'm going to call it my circle equals new, and I'm going to put circle. And let's see why I did that. Okay, my circle equals new circle, CIRCLE. Whoops, I got to get rid of that T. Okay, and what is new circle? Well, new circle is the name right here of this function, which uses this method down here. So all I have to do is say draw it, and let's see what happens. So let's see if this does what it's supposed to do. I can do, now I have an object, my circle, my CIRCLE dot, and that's camel case D. Whoops, I hit the mouse pad on my keyboard. I hate the way they do mouse pads on the keyboards. You know, it's right in your way all the time. Why can't they put them over on the side? Okay, let's draw it. D R. Whoops, and there it is again. I hit the damn thing. D R. If any of you that are listening design these keyboards, please do not put the mouse pad where your hands are all the time. You know, it's almost a no-brainer. Okay, so what was I going to do? Draw it, right? IT like that. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I don't do it that way. I put a dot operator. Here I was talking about where the mouse pad does. I do that. My circle, draw it. Now that should come here when I activate this and draw that circle. Okay, let's see if it does. I'm going to come here, File. I'm going to come here, Save. And I come over here and I do a refresh. And there it is. It still works. So now I should be able to change some of the parameters. Well, now you might ask yourself, well, what is it you want to change? Well, I just happen to know that this number right here represents the radius. I also know that this represents the color. Isn't that true? So let's just define a property called color and call it this, and then color, capital C-O-L-O-R, okay, equals, and then I can make it any default color. Let's make the default color blue. I don't even need a default color, okay? And I'm going to come down here now and I'm going to put this color in place of blue. You see where it says right here, fill style blue? Well, I know it's the color because it says blue. So I take away the quotation marks and I put this and I put color. Just like that. Make sure there's no quotation marks. Okay? So now what happens is that if I don't override this, it'll be blue. If I do override it, it'll be whatever I put in there. Let me show you what I mean. Supposing I now do this. I can now do my circle dot color. Isn't that what I called this up here? Right here. My circle. This is going to be dot color. Okay, now what I'm going to do is make it, how about we make it red? That's always exciting. Okay, and I'll make it red, and I'll come here and I'll save it. I'll come over here now, bring this dude over here, and I'll do a refresh. And there it is, it's red. Hey, that's pretty cool. So what I can do now is I can come up here and I can start putting data in here. Like I know that, like I said right here, I just happen to know that that's the radius. Okay, this is the x coordinate. This is where it's located on the x. This is where it's located on the y. This is where you clip it. Don't worry about that. That's some kind of weird math function that's used in JavaScript, and I'm not sure what the true and false is for. You can experiment with that. This is where you put your ID. So I can now put all of these this data up here. So let's put something for the radius. What do you want to call it? Well, let's call it the radius. That makes sense. The T-H-I-S. How about R for radius? Okay, and we won't assign it a default value. We could if we wanted to, but let's just leave it that way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come down here and put this dot R. Okay, right where the radius goes. Then I'm going to come down here and define the radius for it in my object, my circle, C-I-R-C-L-E dot R. Okay, and how about we make the radius say 30? Okay, all right. Now we're going to save this. Come here to File and Save, and then come over here and do a refresh, and bang! Now it's bigger. Hey, this is really pretty cool. This object-oriented programming. You know, and it makes me wonder why more people don't use it. Well, that's okay. I mean, if you don't know how to do it, obviously, you know. So this is the X location, and that's the Y location. So what we could do is we could have this X, T-H-I-S, X, okay, and then we could have a this, T-H-I-S dot Y, okay, like that. And we can have a this ID, right? So I need to change this X here. I need to put that variable down here, this data that I defined up here. So I have to put this X, whoops, come on, this X, and then I have to put over here, make sure I put there's a comma there, and then I have, right here I have this dot Y. That's what I defined it to be, correct? Okay, and there's the other, this R. Alright, so I have now identified, I've tied these properties to this method down here. So now I need to actually put in an X and a Y because I don't have a default value. So how about I do a my circle, C-I-R-C-L-E, that X, whoops, X, and it has to be a capital X, is equal to say 5, so we have it towards the left, say, and then my circle, this is going to be weird because it's going to be off the canvas, I-R-C-L-E dot Y is say going to be equal to 20. Let's try that. Okay, and then we do a file save. Now we bring this dude over here and we do a refresh, and look, he's way over there now, as we would expect from the values that we put in here. But hopefully you get the idea now. So I don't have to worry about the convoluted code that's used to define a circle. All I have to do is make a class out of it, and I can take this class and put it in a separate document and just attach it to my web page, and then use nice, clean, simple code like this. So hopefully this has really inspired you on designing your own classes, and you saw that even if I don't know exactly what all the code does, I don't have to. As long as I know I get it to work and I can put it in a function, I've got it made then. And then all I have to do is just make another function that acts as a that holds the data, and that uses this other function as a method, which is done right here. Okay, on my next video I'll show you how to even have some more power using object-oriented programming. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching.